Our guest today, before we get into any of the levity,
Yeah,
I'll embarrass him by telling a quick story.
please.
Dean and I go a long way back.
But further than me and Dean?
Well, we'll be.
All right. We'll figure that out.
We're going to start at hard copy and talk about that briefly. But I had a nice career going as a director, and I did First Contact. You remember?
I recall that.
Insurrection, then Clock Stoppers we talked about earlier, and then I went to London and did a movie called Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
In spite of Sir Ben Kingsley and Bill Paxton and others, the movie took a shit. I mean, a really, really bad shit. And I went to movie jail, which I didn't know was a thing. And in television, the writer or the producer takes the hit. But in a movie, the director takes the hit, if I'm not mistaken. So we moved back to our summer home in Maine, which we were lucky enough to have. And I was feeling sorry for myself, and I was licking my wounds. And out of the blue, Jeannie opened a store, and she just carried on. She was so sick of my self-pity.
Yeah.
Dean contacts me and says, "Are you available to go to Africa to direct a TV movie starring Noah Wiley? I supervised the first one, but I'm busy on another project down there. Any way you could come down and direct this movie for me?" I looked at Jeannie. She said, "Yes, you are available."
Dropping names and other things where the whiskey flows and the laughter sings. Pull up a seat, join the game. The Brad and Johnny Podcast Show.
Dean Devlin.
Dean Devlin.
Producer, director, actor, entrepreneur.
He's done so many things.
We were told on the Scout, actually, when you scout in Africa, especially in Kenya, you're on a truck with somebody, and there's a guy on the roof with a gun. And he says to us, if we see elephants and they have babies, if we're out of the truck, they say, back up slowly, right? So sure enough, we saw elephants, and there were baby elephants, and they looked at us, and we backed up slowly, and the guide says, "Not that slowly."
There's this great outtake I have from your shoot, and there was no sound running, so you can't really tell. But you see the actors; it's an idyllic scene, beautiful thing, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the dialogue, the AD comes in and just starts pushing people out of the shot, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And just they're out of the shot, these elephants come watching.
Oh, my God.
What was your first time with Dean?
Well, Independence Day.
Right.
I
I've
auditioned.
heard of the movie. I don't know how it did in the box office, but I did hear it.
It was a nice little picture. It recouped its initial investment. I auditioned for Dean. Yeah, that was one of the great experiences of my life.
For me too, because I was a giant fan of yours.
Oh.
I was like, you were like a hero to me. So when I had you on set and playing like my favorite character, it was just like heaven.
His favorite character.
Yeah, you know what? It was the wig.
Just wanted you to know that.
The wig was great.
Data. Was Data your favorite character, or your favorite character in the movie was the Doc?
In that movie, that was my favorite character.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Data. I mean, come on.
But it was such an amazing experience for me. First of all, when you cast me, which was very quickly, I mean, I came in, I auditioned for you. You filmed it, showed it to Roland Emmerich, and the next day I got a call.
Oh.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Roland.
Thank you. And I called back and I said, "Can I have long hair?" And they got me a wig instantly, $10,000 wig, by the way, which at the end of the film I said, "Can I keep it?" And they said, "No, we may need to use it again if we do a sequel." And 20 years later, they opened that box and the thing looked like, it was horrible. So they had to get me another wig. But it was also because of who I got to work with. And working with you, Dean, and working with Roland was such a joy on that picture because there was a style where there was the script, but everybody had ideas as we were shooting.
That's how Dean rolls.
And it was just great to be able to go, oh, that was good. But now let's do it again and add this piece to it and then add this piece to it. And then it just became so much fun to work.
I had a big belief that if you have the right actors, magic happens on set that you can't predict.
Yeah.
So Roland and I always had this rule, one take as written, just in case.
Yeah.
and then
Just go for it.
go for it and see what happens. And I'd say on the end result on that picture,
Yeah.
at least a third of the dialogue happened on set.
No kidding. Pullman.
Well, yeah.
Pullman.
We had
Goldblum.
Goldblum, who's a great guy. Bill Pullman, who's salt of the earth. You know who really thrilled me to work with? Well, let me also just mention Jim Rebhorn, who was wonderful.
Rebhorn. Oh.
And
Oliver Sholem.
yeah, but Robert Loggia.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, when I first came on, they just kind of threw me into this scene. I mean, I was in makeup. They put the wig on, and in the script, if you read the script, the original script, he's just a doctor. And we'd kind of evolved into him like
Mad doctor.
being somebody who had probably gone to Berkeley in the 60s. And
Well, what you said at the time is you said, well, Area 51 is such a secretive place. He goes, this guy's probably been in a hole for 10 years.
right.
And so,
So he's a little nutty. And but if you just read the script, which most of the other actors had, they didn't know what our take was going to be. So literally they were I don't know if they were shooting or rehearsing or what, but all the guys enter together, Pullman, Goldblum, Robert Loggia, Jim Rebhorn, the whole bunch of them. And I come down and meet them. Me and John Story is behind me. And I go in to meet them, and Mr. President, I could see in their faces, oh my God, what is this? Because they had read the script, and he was a doctor.
Hadn't imagined you.
No. And we did the whole scene. We said, cut. They said, cut. Bill Pullman threw his arms around me.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, good, thank God. But I could see in Robert Loggia's face, what's going on here? Wait a minute. It said a doctor. This guy's a doctor. You know, but he didn't quite trust it. And then we shot a scene like the next day where the doors open up on the giant alien ship, and we were all behind the door because the camera's on the other side of the door. Doors open up, and we're looking at the ship, and Robert was standing next to me. And when I was a kid, they did a thing on Disney. It was 3 different shows. One of them was Robert Loggia in the 9 Lives of El Fuego Baca. He was a Mexican kind of
Like a lot of your early roles.
We'll
get to that.
El Fuego Baca, the Tom Tryon in Texas John Slaughter, and I don't remember what the third one was, but I loved the opening song from the 9 Lives of El Fuego Baca. So right before the doors open, I looked at him and I went, Robert, all I can remember is the 9 Lives of El Fuego Baca. And he burst into song and did the whole song for me. And we were buds after that. Everything was good.
well, I adored him. On his first day on the set, he showed up with a black and white photograph of himself and my mother from the TV series Then Came Bronson.
Wow. Michael Parks.
Yeah.
Give me a ding.
Come on.
So that
How about
blew
his
my mind.
mother?
Yeah.
But to help explain that reaction
Yeah.
that you got, shortly after that, we filmed the scene on Air Force One when Judd Hirsch says, Area 51, you've got everything in the Area 51. And I wasn't on set for that. And it wasn't going well at all. And Roland was getting frustrated, and Roland went to the bathroom or something, and I arrived on set. All the actors are really like not knowing how to do the scene. And I said, well, it's a comedy scene. And they went, what? I said, yeah. I said, play this for laughs. Play this one for fun.
Yeah.
And Loggia got so upset. He ran over to Roland and goes, am I Leslie Nielsen? Did I completely misunderstand this movie?
Wow. Excellent.
We were like, no. It knows what it is, and it winks at the audience. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your mother, Pilar?
Yeah, your mother was an
So
actress.
I actually predate both of you in Star Trek
Oh,
because my mother was on the original Star Trek
really?
Yes.
in the Wolf in the Fold episode.
What did she play? Because the audience will know.
Yeah. So in the Wolf in the Fold episode, they go to this planet of all women, and there's a princess there who's a psychic princess, and she gets killed by Scotty.
Oh,
And that was my mom.
wow. Amazing. I had no idea.
How do you say your mom's last name?
Well,
Her
her
stage
acting
name?
name was Pilar Surratt,
Surratt.
which was hilarious because my father thought it'd be a good last name for her from the painter Surratt.
Yeah.
But my mom didn't understand it, and so she thought it was Polar Sacrat, which was the lozenges of the time. So she had to learn her acting name.
His father, Don Devlin,
Yes.
according to what I read, and I didn't know this until the other day, discovered. First, we'll give Don one.
Let me guess. Steven Spielberg. Is that right?
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
Sort of is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
dropping names. We got
That's
Spielberg's name in the fucking
So
show.
Spielberg, as everyone knows, Spielberg had kind of like gotten himself onto the lot at Universal. My father was an executive at Universal. My father saw his 8mm film and said, we got to do something with this guy. He's great. And my father is the one who introduced him to Sid Sheinberg, who gave him the job. Now, my dad told me that story growing up, but I always thought he was just taking credit for Steven Spielberg. And then one day I'm at the Steven Spielberg Museum at Universal, and the very first exhibit is the photo of the letter my father recommending him for the job.
Come on.
So I took a picture of the photo because they weren't going to give it to me, and the picture of the photo is in my office.
Wow. Wow.
That's a great story.
You know, the story you told about Loja thinking this was, he was Leslie Nielsen. We did an episode of Next Generation. It's kind of the antithesis of that, where we had an actor who, wonderful actor by the name of Seymour Cassel.
Sure.
Seymour Cassel, two-time Oscar
nominee.
Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor, and probably the most unknown by the general public.
Right.
Two-time
Actor's actor.
Oscar winner. Oh, fantastic! In all the Cassavetes movies, and really
Terrifying.
wonderful.
Absolutely terrifying.
But he did not know what Star Trek really was, and so he was of a mind that it was a comedy. And there was a moment where he was talking to an alien race about something, and they said, "We're going to blow you away" or something, and they were on the view screen, and he's looking at the view screen, and he goes, "Uh-oh," and we all started laughing, and he went, "What? What?" And we said, "Well, he says he's going to kill us," and he goes, "Wait, this isn't a comedy?" And he thought it was a comedy, and in some
What about
cases,
his entrance to this?
no, that wasn't Seymour.
Who was that?
That was, I know what you're thinking of.
But
That-
Brooke-
Larry Tierney. Lawrence Tierney.
Tierney, another actor. Do you remember that name?
Yeah.
He was impatient, let's say, at the Paramount gate.
Yeah.
And said, fuck it, and drove through and busted the gate down.
He
Oh,
boasted
my
the
God.
So
gate.
they called the soundstage to let us know that Lawrence Tierney was on the lot and ready to work.
Have we told that story before on this
Probably.
show? I don't know.
We've been known to repeat stories.
Yeah, well, I'm going to repeat. Well, Lawrence Tierney was famous in the 40s for playing Dillinger. That was his ticket. But he was really had a problem with alcohol, and he was ultimately banned from several studios for hitting people, and we were scared of him.
Yeah.
He
was scary.
He was a big guy. He was in Reservoir Dogs. He's one of the colors, Mr. Somebody. He's a large, older, bull-headed guy, and they almost fired. I think Tarantino fired him from that and then brought him back because he did something frightening. If he didn't get his way, he would go and he'd raise his fist like that. It really was scary. And Patrick actually said to me one day, "I'm scared," but
I love when you do Patrick.
Yeah.
One more time.
I'm scared.
Yeah, very nice.
But what finally stopped it was they asked for quiet, and Larry Tierney was still talking, and Patrick said, "They said quiet," and he went, "Okay, Picard, okay," and that was the end of that. He did a Seinfeld, and he scared them on that set too. He pulled a knife, and they were afraid he was going to use it.
Oy vey.
But he was a really good actor.
How many great careers have we seen ruined through alcohol and drugs?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's so sad.
And some not ruined.
Right.
Tracy was the biggest drunk of all time, apparently, and
And one of the top 5 actors.
one of the greatest actors that ever lived.
Don't let him catch you.
Anyway,
My first gig with Brent, you're Brent.
No,
with
I'm
Dean
Brent.
was on the television series that he was a regular on called Hard Copy. Have you ever heard of this show?
Yeah. Wait,
One season.
One season, not even a full season.
That's right.
were you the lead on the show?
It was 3 leads. It was Michael Murphy,
Hold on. One of Altman's actors, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wendy Crewson,
Yeah.
Wendy, I know Wendy.
who he
I
ended
did
up
a-
marrying.
Yeah,
later.
he married her. I
And
did
me.
a TV movie with her.
We were the 3 leads.
Is that right? I did a TV movie with her that was directed by Lee Rose.
We were downtown L.A., and we just clicked. Was that the first time we had met?
Jonathan is our guest star,
Right.
and he's playing a killer pimp.
As you do.
Wow.
And
Similar to the killer drug
So
dealer
you
I
guys
played on
knew each other
on
before.
Hill Street.
yeah, that's the first time I
Yeah.
met him. So he comes on set and he's arrogant and very self-confident. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to like this guy. And by the end of the day, I was in love with the guy. So
But that's a great cast. I mean,
I
Michael
must have been
Murphy was good.
trying to stay in
I
character.
love Winnie
You were.
Crewson.
Yeah, I'm over that kind of method shit.
no, you were definitely
Now I
walking
sh-
in as the guy.
Exactly.
And when I realized that,
it was one of my first jobs.
was it really?
Yeah, it was early. It was 80s, early 80s. Is
Yeah.
that when it was?
Yeah. Got it.
Certainly pre-Star Trek.
Oh, way
Yeah.
before. Because I remember when Star Trek came out, again, I'm a giant Star Trek nerd,
Thank
and I
God.
saw you, I started screaming at the TV, the killer pimp!
The killer pimp.
When I was doing Independence Day, I demanded that everybody call me Dr. Oken.
Yeah, no, you were that kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm that kind of actor.
Dean and I went on to develop a script that we both loved called Steve Was Here. Have you ever told you about
Yeah,
this?
I
Written by
know
the
of this.
wonderful Norm Steinberg, who
Yeah,
wrote
Norm Steinberg, very good
Blazing
writer.
Saddles. What do you mean a Norm?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, what was
Oliver
this,
Shaw.
what was this series called?
Steve Was Here.
Steve Was Here.
Wonderful script.
Who was in it?
Nobody.
Oh, nobody.
We never
You
got
were
to make it.
developing
Never
it
got
together.
made.
We ran into legal issues with another person, but he wrote My Favorite Year, which is one of your favorite movies, as I recall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love
Norm Steinberg.
Uncle Normie.
Yeah.
He was fabulous.
I think my only negative with him is he was so damn funny in the meetings, we got very little done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
he
he
would
was
just
like a
crack us
stand-up.
up endlessly.
Because he was a Mel Brooks guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, so Dean, let me ask you this. I want to know, who have you worked with or met, been in a room with, that you really could not believe you were standing there with this person?
So many.
Yeah, I'm
because
sure.
I'm more of a fan than I am a filmmaker.
Certainly, I'm more of a fan than I am an actor.
And not just because I'm in this room, both of you. That's how
We don't
I
count.
feel. No, seriously. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah.
huge fan. I mean, if we weren't friends, I would be trying to get your autograph at the convention. I mean, in seriousness. I would also say that I had the pleasure of directing David Tennant,
Oh, wow.
and I'm also a huge Doctor Who fan.
That's a great
David
movie.
Tennant.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful, underseen movie and
Well,
shot in
tell me the
Portland.
name of it again.
Bad Samaritan. was the
Bad
film.
Samaritan. Yeah, with David Tennant.
Tennant's
He's a
fabulous.
terrific actor and a great guy.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is he was playing a horrible serial killer.
Yeah.
And when I would say action, his eyes would go. I mean, he'd have shark eyes. You know, that dead eye thing. And out of the corners of my eyes, I would see the entire crew kind of going like this every take. And then as soon as I'd say, and cut, he'd go, how was that? Was that all right? He was so sweet.
Yeah, very nice person.
Wonderful actor.
Yeah, a really good actor.
Rangy. Broadchurch.
Good Samaritan. How'd the movie do?
Terrible.
Really? Did you write the movie?
I did not write the movie, but I found the movie and I worked with the writer on it. As far as I'm concerned, that's the first feature I directed because Geostorm I never finished, so I don't consider that really my film.
Right.
And I loved
Did you
the film.
not direct Eight-Legged Frakes?
No. Roland and I had this idea to do a throwback to the 1950s giant spider movies.
Yeah.
And while we were playing around with the idea, someone shows us a short film from Australia. And it's called Larger Than Life. And it's done in black and white, and it's about giant. And it was perfect. It was like, oh my God, that's the movie. This is the guy. We're going to hire this guy to direct the movie. So we developed the script. We set it up at Warner Brothers. He's going to direct the film. And this is just before a big strike. So we know that we've got to get this thing in. So a week before we go to shoot the movie, I get a call from somebody in Australia. And they say, I know that Ellery told you he directed that short, but he didn't. I directed that short, and he put my name on it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but now I'm in a panic.
Yeah.
I show up in Arizona, and it's clear this guy has no idea how to direct a picture.
Oh, shit.
And I can't, and I hadn't worked with Warner Brothers before at this point, and I'm the one who hired the director. And so this is panic time. This is sheer panic time. So I end up sitting next to him for the shoot. Roland Emmerich takes a whole other crew to shoot all the second unit stuff.
Yeah.
And Peter Winther gets another crew to do an action unit. So we're all separated. We're not even talking to each other. We're just trying to get the film shot. Wow. The film is finished, and we go to edit it, and I basically pushed a comedy. Roland directed a horror movie, and Peter did an action film. And it did not cut together at all. So we spent a year in post
Oh my God.
just redoing, adding effects, doing all kinds of, and finally, it came together. And the irony is, it might be my best reviewed movie, but the audience went,
big
"Ooh, spiders! Not
Yeah.
gonna watch it."
I wanted to ask a question for you, for the record. I remember when I first met you, people said behind your back that you had been the driver for or the chauffeur to.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Al
Al
Pacino.
Al Pacino. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you've met someone big, really big.
It was a
How about
crazy.
that one? How about that dropping names? I knew that was going to work.
So yeah, I was working at a place called Furco in New York City, which stood for Film Equipment Rental Company.
I thought that would be in the garment district, Furco, but
This guy named Robert Colesbury, he's a UPM, or was a UPM at the time, and he came in and he goes, "I've heard great things about you here. You know, what do you really want to do?" And I said, "Well, ultimately, I want to produce and direct." And he said, "Well, I'm doing a Martin Scorsese movie. Would you like to be a PA on the movie?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm in. I'm in." So I gave
Wait a
my
minute, Scorsese.
There you go. So I gave a 2-week notice. I trained a new guy to take over my job, and I showed up for my first day of work. And Colesbury goes, "Oh, I forgot to call you." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I had to hire Scorsese's nephew." I go, "Well, I quit my job." He goes, "Yeah, I feel bad." "You feel bad? I can't pay my rent." So I go back to my apartment, and I'm just a wreck because I liked my job that I just lost.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't have a job. The next day he calls me and he goes, "How'd you like to be Al Pacino's chauffeur?" And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Pacino was visiting De Niro on the set and saw that De Niro had a young guy driving him around, and he goes, 'I need a guy like that.'" And I said, "I got the perfect guy for you." So I became his driver/assistant for 3 years.
3 years.
Isn't that cool?
Wow. And was that a good gig? Did you enjoy it?
It was incredible because having grown up in Los Angeles, anybody who had a photo and a resume was an actor.
Right.
There was no other qualifications.
Right.
But at that time, at least in New York, you had to
be a real actor.
yeah, you had to know your stuff. So Al introduced me to a whole world I didn't know, and he introduced me to Lee Strasberg, and I just got involved in a whole other way of thinking about acting. And
Wow.
and he was very generous in talking to me about his process and what he was doing.
Well, there's nobody better than Pacino.
Remarkable. But I'll tell you this, because this is interesting. He's doing the rehearsals for American Buffalo, and I'm watching them,
David Mamet.
and he's terrible. I mean, I'm
Wow,
watching it, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I think he sees me out of the corner of the eye, it kind of like shocked. Afterwards, he comes over and he goes, "Dean, I want you to know my instinct is to overact. So when I rehearse,"
Sound like somebody you know?
You talking about me?
I'm sorry. No.
so he said, "When I rehearse, I get it all out of my system."
Oh, that's smart.
And so that's what he would do. He would rehearse and wildly overact.
Huh.
And then when it came time to do it, he had exercised it out.
Sometimes
That's
he
fantastic.
leaves it on the screen.
Well, I'll tell you. So at the same time he was doing that, he was doing this movie called Author.
Yeah, I saw that. That's well, of course, I can't think of the guy's name who wrote it.
Arthur.
Arthur
Hiller.
Arthur Hiller directed, but it was written by
Arthur Hiller gets one.
The father
Of
of one of the Beastie Boys was the writer of the script.
Yeah, but a famous writer, a New York writer, Herb Gardner.
No.
No.
okay, it'll come to us.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's shooting the movie. Now, I'm watching him do the play every night, and I'm watching him do the movie. And one day we're driving back to the apartment after a day of shooting. And I said, "Al, do you not like this director or like this movie?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you know, I see you in the play every night, and I'm watching you on set, and it feels to me like you're phoning it in." And
You
Al
said this to Al Pacino?
yeah. And Al said, "You're coming with me to Daly's tomorrow." So we came to Daly's, and I sat there, and I saw his work on the big screen. I was like, "Oh, my God." And he said, "Dean, if the crew laughs, it's too big. They shouldn't be able to see what you're doing. The camera should only see what you're doing." And that was the huge lesson.
What a
because it was
huge lesson.
completely different performance on screen than what I saw standing on the sidelines on set.
The camera picks up what you feel.
That's interesting. I remember that exact time in history because I remember when he did American Buffalo for the first time, and also there was a kid in Author who played one of his kids in it, who had played my son on stage in a play called Table Settings.
Okay, yeah.
And James Lapine wrote table settings. But
Didn't he direct Sunday in the Park?
Yeah, he directed Sunday in the Park. And that's why I was in it, because I had done table settings. Yeah.
Red.
That was not the original
I'd like to give
American
you a little
Buffalo.
music cue from
I saw
all the
Robert Duvall in
musical
American
references.
Buffalo.
That was the first, and with Charles Durning,
No, it was Ken McMillan.
Kenny McMillan. Yes,
And-
yes,
Great actors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
And
that at the Long Wharf?
well, they probably started there. I saw it on Broadway. And actually, the night I saw it, I was sitting in the balcony, and he comes out. This is the first line of the play. He says, "Fucking Ruthie," and teach.
I can do that whole monologue, by the way.
Can you? It's a great monologue.
Is that your audition monologue?
That became my audition monologue.
Give us a little bit.
And you still remember it.
Fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie, fucking Ruthie. I come into the Riverside. I sit down. I want their place across the vault. Oh, now I'm messing it up. I come into the Riverside. Plates, crust of stuff all over. We shoot the shit, talk about the game, so on. Down I sit. Hi. I reach over to grab a piece of toast off of Grace's plate. She goes, help yourself. Help myself. Half a piece of toast. I should help myself. For a nickel. Anyway, it goes on.
That's great.
That was fabulous.
I love it. You know, I could do my bar mitzvah speech if you
Oh,
like.
let's do it.
Let's have it.
Well, it started like this. I said, February 2nd, 1949 is an occasion that I can hardly remember. But 13 years later, tonight, as I stand on this pulpit, remembrance of this occasion will be an everlasting light in my life. And then I went, hit the mic, and I said, take my tefillin, please. But got no laugh, nothing. But the night I saw...
I love this.
The night I
Your
saw...
son stole the show with his speech at Berman's birthday party, by the way.
Yeah, my son.
Sidebar.
Kind of
Jackson.
brilliant, actually. My son's a screenwriter, in case you run across him. You'll like him a lot, Jackson. He's brilliant. The night that I saw American Buffalo, Duvall's doing that opening speech, and I think there was a guy on the front row who was asleep.
Hold on. Duvall first mentioned.
Kenny McMillan was playing the guy who owns the shop, and on his desk was a Planters Peanuts can filled with peanuts. And Duvall's doing that speech you just did, and as he's doing it, he reaches in and grabs a handful of peanuts and throws them at this guy in the front row. And never stops, just keeps going. And you see the guy jump awake, and
I have a similar story.
yeah.
So when Al was doing it, I literally watched 103 performances. He never did it the same way twice.
Yeah.
But one night, there's some guy in the front row taking flash pictures
Oy.
during the show. And I can see Al's getting angrier and angrier. And the thing that made Al so great is you never knew what he was going to do. He felt really explosive. Anyway, at one point, the guy takes a flash picture, and Al grabs a chair, lifts it up, comes running across the stage. Now, by the way, I should say that the stage was a horseshoe shape.
Yeah.
So he comes running across the stage, and he slams it right in front of where the guy was. And he sits in the chair, leans in. He leans into the guy. The guy takes his picture. Al gets up, takes the chair, puts back, and he goes on with the play. And the guy didn't take another picture.
Oh, my God.
But we all thought he was going to kill the guy.
of course.
Yeah, I would have been terrified. I'd still be terrified just to be in a room with Al Pacino. But he's a nice guy, right?
I would tell you, in the entire time I worked with him, other than on stage, I never heard him raise his voice.
Huh.
Ever.
Looking forward to this King Lear that he's been working on for a long time. Apparently, I mean, an amazing cast.
He has been working on that for a long time, yeah.
Well, I have a Richard III story with him.
Because he did
He did that movie, Looking for Richard.
Yeah, and he rehearsed that forever and shot it forever.
So while we were doing Author, Al had hired an entire group of actors and a director to do Richard III at his house for his friends. And he had Richard III on his coffee table in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it and I said, you know, I really love Shakespeare. I said, but that's the one play I never got it. I just don't get it. He said, what do you mean you don't get it? I said, I don't know. I can't relate to it. And he was so mad at me. He stood up and by heart did the entire play, every character.
Oh, my God.
Stopping to explain each scene. The ADs are knocking on the door. Al, you're one on set. I'm in the second act.
Wow.
And he did the entire play for me, explaining every single scene.
Well, let me ask you this.
You got one?
I got one.
Okay.
Because I'm still interested in your acting career.
That's what I was
God.
going to go. I got a couple here I want to pull.
Well, okay. Well, let me do.
I got you.
It may be the same one you have.
I doubt
it. And there's a crossover here, but Real Genius.
Ah, yes.
You're in Real Genius.
I am in Real Genius.
Yeah. Martha Coolidge.
Yeah.
I did 3 films for Martha Coolidge.
Really?
4, actually. Yeah. And did
Out
you?
to Sea with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I did Introducing Dorothy Dandridge with Halle Berry for her. And I did a really awful thing called Material Girls with the Duff sisters.
I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah. But I did a PBS movie, too, that Eudora Welty wrote, which was fantastic. And she sent me the book signed. And of course, it was in my fire, so I've lost everything. But so Val Kilmer, that's his first role, really, in
I don't know
Real
if it was
Genius.
his first role.
I think it's his first film role.
He might have done the James Bond ripoff. What was it? Top.
Oh yes. Top Gun? No, Top.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, well, I'm going to give you a different in, and you can ring the bell on this
Either
one.
way.
So Val Kilmer went to Chatsworth High School with Kevin Spacey.
Right.
I went to North Hollywood High School. We used to compete against each other, and we got to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
We were all in New York at the same time. Kevin and Val went to Juilliard, and I was working for a living.
Yeah.
But the 3 of us all got cast at the exact same time on plays on Broadway. Kevin got Ghosts, Ullman's Ghosts,
I saw that.
and he won the Tony for that.
Yeah.
That was his first. Val got King Lear, and he quit the night before opening,
Holy shit.
ruining the play.
Oh boy.
And I got James Kirkwood's There Must Be a Pony, and we closed in previews.
Wow.
It's a glamorous profession, isn't it?
As I recall, you initially wanted Kevin Spacey to play the president.
That's right.
In Independence Day,
That's right.
and the studio wouldn't have it.
So there were 2 roles we were fighting big time for. One was Will Smith, and the other one was Kevin Spacey.
Will won, right?
What's that?
Will gets one.
Yeah,
In
of
spite,
course. Yeah, no,
in
no.
spite of.
Yeah, of course.
Unusual Suspects had just played at the Sundance Film Festival, and I said to the studio, "We can get him for $200K now. He's going to win an Oscar in a year, and it's going to be $2 million. You know, we should get him." And we really wanted Will Smith, and the studio didn't want either one of them. The studio wanted Stephen Dorff,
Stephen Dorff, yeah,
Dwarf, yeah.
yeah, for the
president.
no for the
Oh,
Will
for the
Smith
Will Smith
role,
part.
role, and they wanted Bill Pullman for
President.
the president. So we were fighting and fighting and fighting, and then finally said, "All right, you get one. Which one of the 2?" And it was like, "Okay, Will." Because I had written the president originally as you didn't trust him.
Huh.
The original thing was that you think he's kind of a villain character until he gets in the airplane. And then you realize, oh, wait, he's good. Once it was Pullman, it was like, oh, no, he's good from the first. I went and rewrote the whole part. And I loved what he did.
It
So
couldn't
I'm
have been
super happy
better.
about
I mean, that choice that you and the studio made, those 2 choices could not have been more right.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't imagine another actor doing that speech than Bill Pullman. He just did it so perfectly.
But that's a real example of performance over script. So I don't know if you know the story about that speech, but when we were writing the script, I said to Roland that this was a pivotal moment in the movie. I said, this is the Henry IV speech. You know, this is the St. Crispin's Day speech.
St. Crispin's Day.
So I said, that's what this is. He sees that they're scared, and he puts the courage in them, and it's an important moment. And Roland looks at me and goes, "Oh, great! We just got to write
A Shakespeare monologue.
a Shakespeare monologue that's as good as the St. Crispin's Day speech." And I said, "Well, look, here's what we're going to do." I said, "I'm just going to vomit out 2 paragraphs now, but we'll rewrite this later. You know, just know that we'll put a circle on this." And we sold the script quickly. We're making the movie. We were in, that border of Utah and Nevada,
Right.
where we were shooting. And I'm in the office, and someone says, "Oh, they're about to shoot the president's speech." And my eyes popped. I said, "I never rewrote it." And I went into a panic, and I came running to the set. And just as I arrived, he did the first rehearsal, and everyone lost their minds. And I went, Yeah, we'll leave it.
I think we'll let that one be.
We're going to just leave it
It's
as.
such a great speech, and he just does it. So I mean, I'm ready to go fight when he does it. It's that kind of speech. It's
He
fantastic.
killed it.
Yeah,
Absolutely
he
killed
really
it.
did.
So I have a Mike Tyson story.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Here we go.
So in the early 80s, I used to hang out at the Improv. Remember the Improv?
Sure.
And I was a regular, so I knew everybody. And Mike Tyson came in with a group of guys to watch the comics, and they were getting rowdy. They were getting unruly. So owner of the club comes over to the bouncers and say, "You got to kick Tyson out." And the bouncer's like, "You want us to throw Tyson out?" He goes, "You got it. He's disrupting the whole thing. The night's going to be ruined. You got to get him out." And the two guys are like, they're trying to figure out how to do this. And I walked in. I said, "No, not them." And I pointed to the bartender. I go, "Howard." And Howard was about 5'1". He was tiny. I go, "Have Howard do it." And it's like, what? And I go, he's not gonna punch Howard.
Yeah.
These guys, he'll want to, eat him up. Howard looked at me so pissed off that I had this idea. But they sent him in, and it worked. He thought it was hilarious that the little guy's kicking him out, and he left, and it was no problem. But from that day on, Howard wouldn't serve me a drink.
Yeah.
Howard was totally pissed at me.
Well, what were you doing at the Improv? Were you there just to?
It was a hang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
young
thinking
actors
maybe you were
hanging
doing
out.
stand
Did
up.
you ever do stand-up?
I did stand up
I
in New York
knew
with
it.
John Story.
Oh, no kidding.
We were
your
a duo.
backup.
We were
John
a duo.
Story was my lover in Independence Day Resurgence.
We were a duo in New York. Our act was called Something Clever, and we did it for about a year. Then we brought it to L.A., and then I just didn't like being around other comics.
Yeah, it's hard.
They were really angry, mean
Yeah, that's
people.
the rap.
And I quit.
when I was in Texas back in the day, before I had gone to New York or done anything, I went to a high school that had a lot of really interesting people.
Part of Texas.
Houston. And in
Get
my
Houston.
my drama class, Randy Quaid, who you know.
Oh my God! I didn't know that you guys grew up together.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, something happened on the Independence Day set that I'll tell you about in a minute. But it was Randy, and I knew Dennis because he was around, and but Trey Wilson. I don't know if you remember Trey
Oliver
Wilson,
Sholem.
but he was a very good friend, and he was. I was best man in his wedding, and he was a wonderful, wonderful actor who died too young. You remember him from Bull Durham. He was the manager of the team.
Okay.
And he's Mr. Arizona in Raising Arizona. It's his furniture store. And he I think he died at 40. And he had 8 films that year. And as a matter of fact, Coen Brothers, Miller's Crossing, is dedicated to Trey because he was supposed to play the Albert Finney role. And then he passed away. But also in my high school drama class was Marianne Williamson, who ran for president. Not while we were in school together, but years later.
Was that where you studied with
Mr. Pickett.
Mr. Pickett? Was that high school or college?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, he was my drama teacher in high school, and then
You were telling us about Randy Quaid.
there was a moment Randy had where he's on the phone in the hangar, and Roland whispered in my ear, "Get in his face, just get in his face while he's doing this." And so I just came in, and I wasn't even supposed to be in the scene, and I just came in, and I'm going, "Hey, who are you talking to?" Is it, and I'm bugging him while he's on the phone, and finally he goes, "Stop it!" He goes, "You did this to me all through high school, and you're doing it again." But I can't remember what I was going to tell you about. I started to tell you something. Well, there you go. Senior moment, ladies and gentlemen.
It led to a good moment, though.
But it did lead to something.
It'll come
Yeah.
back
More
to you.
important.
I may work my way back one of these days.
I read you guys got Stargate back?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's an interesting law that if you write something on spec and then sell it, after 30 years, you can claim it again, and at 35 years, the rights can come back to you.
Oh.
So it's been that long. But we made a deal with Amazon and MGM, and they're launching a brand new series. And so all is good.
Will you be involved in the series?
We are technically executive producers, but because this is really an extension of the series that we weren't involved with, there's not much we can contribute, really.
Was this under the electric umbrella? Or this is
No, this is just Roland and
private?
I.
Yeah.
Speaking of you and Roland, did you write the Patriot together?
No, that was actually the man who wrote Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, who's that?
I am spacing on his name right now. I'm having a senior moment.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to bring up Heath.
Oh, Heath.
Yeah,
who played your
definitely.
wife's
Husband.
in the show.
So,
Another incredible actor.
oh, yeah.
But that really put Heath on the map in a
did
big
it?
way.
He
had already
great in the
done
movie.
some interesting stuff in Australia, and he did a
He did a series in Australia called Roar.
yeah.
That was actually produced by Sean Cassidy.
Wow.
In it, he was kind of playing Mel Gibson in Braveheart.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I thought, well, he's kind of playing young Mel Gibson. Why don't we bring him in to be the son? And the interesting thing is, he screen tested for the role against Ryan Phillippe. And Ryan Phillippe was 3 times better than him. I mean, he killed the test.
audition.
Yeah, there was no question. It was night and day. And afterwards, I remember Mel Gibson turning to Roland and go, so we're going with Ryan. And Roland said, no, we're going to go with Heath. And he goes, but the other kid was way better. He goes, I know, but my guts tell me it's Heath. And what we found out later is Heath was just so nervous around Mel.
Yeah.
And even when we started the movie, the first several days of shooting with Mel, he was just too nervous. But once he got his feet under him, he was spectacular.
And he got great notices for it too.
It was great for him.
Yeah, you know who else was in that movie? Renee Auberjonois.
Yes.
Auberjonois.
Yeah.
Well, we used to have the same manager.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, when I was an actor, we had the same manager. So I always loved Renee through this manager, and I was always trying to find something to do with him. And so,
Renee was also in 315 at The Moment of Truth.
yes.
How about that little reference right there?
That's nice.
You know what you're famous for, among other things?
What's that?
Casting. You've heard
I think that's my best talent.
and editing. But casting, I think about the casts on both Librarians and Leverage, where the diversity of tones, music, colors, energies is so fantastic. And it's a real credit. It's a real gift. I mean, people say sometimes with casting is like 80% of it, 90% of it. And
I think it is.
it's a gift.
You can't survive the wrong casting.
No.
And I've never been hurt by a super talented actor.
I think it's rare for an actor to ruin a movie.
Well, if they're insanely miscast simply because they're famous,
Right.
it can screw up a movie.
does
It's not
happen.
their fault.
Right,
They
but it
just
does
shouldn't have
happen.
had the job.
Yeah.
But you cast it right, so much of your work is done.
Yeah.
I worked
Especially if
with
they're collaborative.
Yeah.
I worked for you again, actually, in Leverage, an episode of Leverage that was directed
How much
by.
did we have to do to persuade him to come to work?
We did
I
a
was
lot
gonna
of
go to that
I had to put
story.
the knee pads on.
He said to me, can you get Brent to do this show? I said, I could try. And then I said, Brent, Dean has offered you a job. I'm directing it. It's going to be overscale. You get out of the house. Where is it? I said, we shoot in Glendale. This is before Portland.
Yeah.
I said, we shoot in Glendale. I said, oh, it's a long drive for me. You remember this?
Yeah.
And
You
then
were fabulous in it.
I believe it was that show or another that we offered you a job. And you said, if somebody else turns it down.
This one.
And we had to cast somebody else who ended up turning it down. And then we got him.
Because I said, if he turns it down, I'll do it. And
That was for us. How do you treat other people? You know,
well, the same way, by the way. I mean, my manager's
Remember
here.
going through this?
He's laughing because he knows I turn down everything. But the real reason is I just don't have that much confidence that I'm going to be able to pull it off.
It's crazy.
And
One of the best actors I've ever seen.
I know. I agree.
One of the best actors I've ever seen.
And
in
most
my life.
versatile.
Thank you. Well, but yet, it's the old. I keep playing Clint Eastwood in my head, saying a man's got to know his limitations, and I think every time I read something, well, no, I can't do this. But sometimes
I had an acting teacher. Did you guys remember Roy London?
sure, huge actor.
Roy London used to say, if your instinct is not to do that part, do that part.
Do that part.
Right, right.
There's something in there that's terrifying you. You don't want to do it. That's the one you got to do.
Well, that's every role I've ever done. It really is. I'm scared always.
But I honestly, we celebrate the character in the wheelchair or the one with the mental problems. That's not, to me, the hardest roles.
Right.
No.
Putting humanity in an android, that is, to me, the giant acting, because that's so easy to screw that up.
Well,
That's so easy to just make it nothing.
thanks.
But
the
the spin,
love,
you put the spin on it right from the
Day one.
pilot. It wasn't a great pilot, but the stuff with you, it wasn't a great pilot encounter at Farpoint. But your stuff had that. Remember, we were up in the park. We were wandering through the park, and you were whistling.
Yeah, that was first day.
It was. I thought, this is wild. That's why people felt that they could relate, and that's why they felt that
Well,
there were feelings.
I'll make the point with an actor that's not you, so you don't have to be embarrassed. Kurt Russell in
Stargate.
No, not in Stargate. In Tombstone.
Tombstone. Yeah.
Oh, what a cast!
Val Kilmer's best part.
Yeah,
ever.
Val is brilliant in that movie.
But he has a line in there that, to me, is a terrible line. But because of his force as an actor, that to me is like, that's when you know that you got a great actor. When they've got a line that's this bad, and he makes it memorable, and you quote it forever. He cocks the gun and he goes, "You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me."
But he did it with conviction, and it worked.
It was his performance of it that made it phenomenal. And that's what I'm kind of complimenting you on.
Thank you. Well, speaking of that pilot, that pilot of Next Gen was directed by a wonderful guy who you'll know from a movie. He was an actor, later became a director, but his name was Corey Allen.
I knew Corey Allen.
Oh, did you know Corey?
Yeah, he was a teacher.
Oh, okay.
He was an acting teacher.
Yes, he was. That's right.
Come on, Corey.
And Corey, in case the audience doesn't know, Corey was famously the guy in Rebel Without a Cause.
In the opposite car.
Who is racing James Dean and gets his sleeve caught on the handle when he's going to roll out of the car, and instead goes over the cliff to his death. And he was great.
He was so
Sweet
passionate.
Man. Passionate, yeah.
I remember doing a scene with Patrick in the either in the ready room or the conference room, and the camera was looking in through the window to give Patrick that kind of powerful stance, and it's a two-shot, and the two of us are looking out into space talking about some bullshit, and he wanted to goose us up a little bit. And he said, "Come on, guys, come on. Fuck the universe. Fuck the universe."
That's always a good direction,
good
by
note.
the way.
Always a good
You can
note.
use that in anything.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been around some very good directors, but I would say if you took the percentage of what I've learned,
Oh, come.
I learned so much from you.
Oh, yeah.
So much from you. And I copy you to this day. Like, one of the things that I don't know if you still do this, but one of the things he used to do that I love is he didn't say, "Cut, we're moving on." He would run from the chair with his hands in the air, dude, go, "Victory!" Now we knew it was time to move on.
Then you know you got to print.
You know you got to print, and everybody's energy went up. And so many things that you do that are psychological.
Yes.
I totally rip you off
Well,
all the time.
He really is an actor's director because he makes you feel you're doing a great job. And that's
And also that you can make a mistake. My philosophy is, like
Make it
you
safe.
said, make sure you do the lines the right one time, and then we'll move on from there. But if you feel safe enough to make a mistake, all of a sudden, all the anxiety that we have, no matter what job we're in, even if you pull in focus, and that's used to be the hardest job in the business. And if you miss the focus, we go again. We'll get it. Everything's going to be fine.
Well, Johnny had said earlier to me, I always thought you should have been a director.
Yeah.
But as you know, having worked with me, that even as an actor, I tend to direct. And we were doing Leverage, actually, and I had an idea, and I said, "Jonathan, I think what happens here in this scene," and you were like, "You know what? I think I can direct this."
We also had Armin Shimmerman in that episode.
Lauren Holly.
Lauren Holly.
There's another Frakesism that I steal all
boy.
the time. This is my favorite. But this is one that I think 8 out of 10 directors can't get away with saying. But because of who you are, you get away. Frakes will walk onto the set after taking this. Great. Act faster. He'll just walk off.
Yeah. Actually, I was on Leverage, where I made a reference earlier. I used to offer Gina, I said, "Well, I think my character would walk around to this side of the table for now." I said, "What if I pay you to stay there? It'll save us half an hour or 45 minutes." $50, she said. No, I think I'd want $100. She said, "Okay, I'll take it." So I'm not above paying an actor to stay in the blocking.
And what's that other thing that you always say, to do a number 3? Or what is-
I'll do it for you. It's called a G3. Works for everything. You know what it is?
Smell a fart.
Who farted? It works everywhere.
Another one I've stolen.
Of course.
That's excellent. I'm going to be thinking that the next time I do something. Anything you want to talk about, Dean? Anything you want to pitch? Anything you want to?
Sure. If I get to pitch a little,
Yep.
Yeah.
we have our own app at Electric called Electric Now, and our own fast channel, the Electric Now Fast Channel. And this year, we're really stepping up our game. At the end of next month, we're debuting brand new apps, and in those apps, we'll have over 60 channels.
What?
Yeah. Within the app, we're going to have our first original program on the show that was made specifically for Electric Now called The Poly Couple, which is hilarious. I think you're going to love it. And we're going to get to put on the first season of Librarians Next Chapter. We're going to get to put on the first 2 seasons of The Ark. So it's going to be a big year for Electric Now.
So good.
And our friend Derek Fredrickson, his animated show is going to debut in the fourth quarter.
I'm so glad you took that on.
It's a science fiction animated comedy called Sloan and the Cosmic Schlep. And that comes out at the end of the year. And one of the voices...
Johnny Frakes.
Johnny Frakes. And Beth,
Yeah.
you're a good pickup. What a delight.
Thank you.
Great stories.
Great guest. Dean Devlin.
Good to have you.